There we go. All right.
Hey, welcome back to yet another episode. I think it's the 11th, Heather. I think this is your episode number 11.
Oh, nice.
Yes, your episode number 11 of Robert's Search for Wellness and Well-being. Meet amazing experts ready to support you and me change how we all feel for the better. Let's see, it's Monday, December 18th. And how many days till Christmas now?
Oh my gosh, we have the official countdown. Well, it's in a week from today, right?
I think so. I
Yeah, we
think
got
a
about
week from
left.
today. Pardon me?
7 days left.
7 days left. But let's put that aside because we have, or I'm gifting everyone with a wonderful gift, or I'm giving everyone a wonderful gift in advance of Christmas. And that's Heather. Heather is today's gift. She's today's gift on Robert's Search for Wellness and Well-being. And this is the first time we've met, though we've kind of gone back and forth through LinkedIn messaging. And how are you today?
I'm really good. Just having an awesome day filled with energy. A little gloomy outside, but it's a great day.
And that's the problem with Heather. She's always happy. I'm always pleasantly astounded at how people can maintain their high levels of happy throughout their life. And I think you've bumped yourself up to number one on my list.
Woo!
You're now number one on my list of people who sustain happy for so long. Heather's pretty cool. Heather's pretty cool. She lives in a small town between Sacramento and San Francisco in the state of California that she calls Vacaville,
Mhm.
which apparently, if you were to translate it, means Cowtown.
Yep.
So if you're from Calgary and you're watching today's fun interview, you'd like that because in Calgary, we often call Calgary, Alberta, Cowtown. But
Oh, that's funny.
maybe we should start calling it Vacaville.
There you go.
Heather is amazing, and you're going to enjoy our conversation together today. She's an amazing recreation therapist. In fact, according to my notes, she is a certified recreation therapy specialist and a certified high performance coach. And you've done some neat stuff to bring the rec therapy and high performance coaching together.
Yes.
And you meet clients online, both one-on-one and group coaching.
Mhm.
But you love your specialty, and your specialty is coaching women. And you said something earlier on about some of your life experiences that has you drawn to the idea of coaching women. And what was that you shared with me?
Well, as a woman in today's world, and specifically as a mother and a wife, just being able to manage and kind of walk through life. There's
Yes.
been a lot of challenges and things that I've worked through myself, and so that's kind of where I landed in my specialty of working with women, working with mothers, or women that have or are going through a major life change or a career pivot. Just going through those things myself and trying to find more tools to add to my own tool belt, just to navigate through it better. Kind of summon my and create my village around me of support. So that's where I landed with my specialty of coaching women. That being said, I don't only coach women. I think I've pretty much worked with all walks of life at this point between recreation therapy and high performance coaching. But yeah, that tends to be my specialty.
And just to let everybody know that you can find Heather here on LinkedIn, and all the work that she does as a self-employed solopreneur is online. So I can imagine that you're meeting people from all walks of life.
Mhm.
And but she also has another side to her where she's employed and in the area of recreation therapy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. So you'll find Heather online through LinkedIn, and I suggest you connect with her. I won't say excited to have you here, but I'm not saying that in a negative kind of way. I think it's really cool that you're here today because we share that recreation background. I have a degree and diploma in community recreation leadership, general recreation, but I think over the course of my recreation career, I think you're the first actual recreation therapist that I've met and had and now I'm having a conversation with somebody who's into recreation therapy. I'm curious how you've taken that and high performance coaching and have brought that together, and why you've brought that together and how you use it in your work one-on-one or in groups online.
Ooh, a lot of really great questions. So as a fellow recreation major, you also know just the importance of play.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I loved about and loved connecting with you about is just the and you even have it behind you, the powerful play experiences. In yes, da, 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 da. I just love that. And there is so much power and wellness in the power of play and being able to just get in that state of flow of full enjoyment where time just doesn't really exist and you're just in the moment. And a lot of that in the therapy world is what we would refer to as mindfulness. And
Oh,
so I utilize that component. And yes, I utilize the mindfulness component in recreation therapy and in high performance coaching. And I decided when I built this business to call it Wellness Recreation 360 because there's so much importance in wellness in recreation. And I think that as adults, go ahead.
I want to politely interrupt you there. I want you to
Yes,
say that again. There's so much wellness
recreation.
in recreation. Um, did you make that up?
The name?
The term, there's so much wellness in recreation.
That's a good question. I'm sure that I've just kind of pieced it together from things that, I've experienced and, being in this profession for so long. So I don't know if I specifically made it up or if I kind of heard it in some way and just made it my own. It's hard to say.
Well, I'm on the search for people who embrace wellness and well-being. So yet that's another way of looking at what you're doing. Rec therapy, high performance coaching to lead people through a journey of wellness and well-being.
Right.
And so the name of the business once again is,
Wellness Recreation 360.
and so tell me about that, because maybe that will give us another angle of, you know, why you've brought it all together and how you've brought it together. Because in the name of the business, there's a lot of subtle messages there that you want people to gravitate to. So tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just I think as adults, um, a lot of us tend to lose sight on the importance of play and recreation and having that leisure time.
Mhm.
And, you know, especially in America, there's just this culture of you got to work in order to live. And
Mhm.
so people are just constantly grinding and pushing and trying to make that dollar, and then they, get like what, 2 weeks of vacation a year, or if they're really lucky and they've worked for, 10 years, maybe they get 4 weeks. But in 52 weeks, that's nothing. That is nothing. And I find for me, whenever I go on vacation, it takes me a good like 5 to 7 days just to unwind, and then really enjoy like the vacation part. And then you're coming back and you have a few days where you have to kind of gear back up to go into work, right? And so for me, the importance of instilling leisure time, recreation, enjoyment, fun, play, all that stuff throughout the day, throughout your life is so, it's not even important, it's crucial.
Okay,
And
so again, to politely interrupt,
yeah,
that's um, creating a state of wellness in your life through better appreciating and understanding the impact of your leisure time on your wellness and well-being, and how you use your leisure time. I've never met anybody like you doing one-to-one and group coaching under the idea or the theme or the subject of the importance of one's leisure time in moving towards a heightened place of well-being and wellness. I'm flabbergasted over this because I would have never. No, let me take that back. I've never thought about my rec background in that capacity.
interesting. Why do you think
Yes.
that?
Pardon me?
Why do you think that is?
Uh, I've thought of recreation as programs.
Oh, okay.
Yes, group programs. And the movement towards wellness and well-being begins with embracing the idea that we need to give attention not to our leisure time, but to our mental health.
Right.
So the path to wellness and well-being begins with acknowledging one's daily mental health and well-being. The path to wellness and well-being, from your perspective, begins with acknowledging the value of giving attention to how you use your leisure time, and the fact that you should be using it in a healthy kind of way. And so the coaching, the one-to-one coaching or group coaching is, can you give me an example, like a real example of either someone or a group where that message needed to be delivered?
Oh, yes. So a client that initially comes to mind is someone who works really hard, has had multiple different businesses, and is currently employed full time, has a house, a husband, children, animals. I mean, just has like, a lot of things going on. And, really, this person just loves to service other people. And so what I've found is that through wanting to service people, um, she's just taken on so much, and her plate is constantly full of other people's needs. And so where she's really struggled is incorporating that self-care time and that downtime, that leisure time for herself. The way I like to look at it is filling your bucket, and making sure that your bucket is not only full so that you can better serve other people, but your bucket is overflowing. So that spillover of self-care and wellness and well-being is just overflowing into your service towards other, whether that's being a parent, or servicing other people, your neighbors, even, right? Just everyone and anything around you, being able to have that overflow available to serve. Because otherwise, we're just constantly draining ourselves, and then we have nothing left to give.
And just to support what you're saying, I'm much older than you, and I'm okay saying that. I'm as old as dirt, but
You don't look it.
I know, and bless you for saying that. Um, when I was in college or university, pursuing recreation as a career, one of the definitions that we used for recreation and leisure, a very simple definition, was non-work time. Can you imagine that?
Ah,
Can you
yes.
imagine that, calling recreation and leisure non-work time? Because what that suggests is that work is the ultimate. It
Right.
has all the power, all the authority in your life. And when you're not working, non-work time, we call that leisure. You flipped it. And in one way, you're saying you have a life. You have leisure time and non-leisure time,
Right, right.
which suggests that there's great importance attached to leisure and recreation, and that leisure and recreation can spill over into your non-leisure time, better known as your work time, right? I'm sure you're a huge proponent of not looking at leisure, recreation, and work as being separate, that you plug into time. I'm sure you're a professional who doesn't see it that way. In my pursuit of recreation as a career through university and college, that's how we were taught.
Hmm.
It's a time thing. You block off time for work, you block off time for non-work time. Oh, by the way, that's called leisure time.
Right.
You don't, I'm sure you don't approach your clients in that way. You're,
Yeah.
my sense is that you are sending a message to live a leisure life, a life filled with leisure, I won't say activities, but to live a life that embraces leisure and recreation throughout your life, in work and during your playtime, during your free time. Am I somewhat correct on that?
Absolutely. Because, if you don't have joy in your life, and if you don't have, that feeling of happiness and fulfillment, then it's really challenging to keep picking yourself back up, let alone, continue to work in whatever capacity with whoever and whatever capacity you are in work. It's really hard to continue to service in any way.
Okay, so come back to that story you were telling about that individual. And what were some of the driving messages that you were trying to bring forward to that client of yours?
The main message was more of a work-life balance. And that's something that it's not an end all be all. You don't just get a magic wand wave and then here's your cure. You will forever have work-life balance. It doesn't work like that. It's more about recognizing, okay, this is how I have a work-life balance so that I can have joy, I can have service, I can experience all these things in one, but in a balance, because that's what it's about, is being able to balance yourself and troubleshoot
Hmm.
balancing yourself. So once you have those tools to say, okay, I'm a little out of alignment, or I'm a little unbalanced, let me tap back into some of those tools to remember, okay, this is what the priority is going to be. Here's what I'm going to do first, and here's how I'm going to rebalance. Because as we go through life, we're going to come through experiences and different seasons of life where then you are going to have to rebalance and restructure. That's normal, right? That's every part of just living.
If you're watching this awesome conversation with Heather Griego, did I get that correct?
You nailed it. Nicely done.
It's like nicely done. A point for me.
Yes, I would give you double.
If you're watching this awesome conversation with myself and Heather, it's all part of Robert's search for wellness and well-being. Meet amazing experts just like Heather, ready to support you and me change how we all feel for the better. We're going to start wrapping this up, but I'm going to challenge you on that term work-life balance.
Yes.
So once upon a time, I'm attending a workshop in the field of career development. I also work in the field of career development and have been working in the field for close to 23 years now. And the
Nice.
facilitator says, enough with that work-life balance terminology. She says, I use the term work-life energy.
Ooh, I love that.
I knew you would. So I'm going to give that term to you, and tell me a little bit about why you just said you love that term, work-life energy, which, by the way, I try to use much more often than work-life balance, because it's a term, work-life balance, that has been heard so often for
Yeah,
so many years. Personally, I believe it's lost its impact.
I
So,
totally agree.
okay, so what do you like about work-life energy? Which, by the way, you bring a lot of good energy to this conversation.
Thank you. Well, so do you. I mean, it's that playing off of each other's energy that I think is what's making this conversation so awesome. I love that word, energy, just overall. You know, you can have high energy, you can have low energy, but we are all made up of energy. We're just balls of energy, and sometimes we have to give ourselves an energy boost, and sometimes we are overly energetic and need to, you know, tone it down, right? Depending on the situation and what's at hand. But I love that term work-life energy because I feel like it creates a nice marriage between the two, because they're both in your lives. And as an energetic being and moving through the energy of work and life, blending those two together instead of separating it, I think is what makes it so powerful.
And that, again, that is how I was taught the separation, right?
Yeah,
We
right,
have
right.
we have work time and we have leisure time. And I was studying to become a professional during your non-work time. So time was a huge part of the conversation, becoming a recreation professional. You haven't even used the word time once because you're
Mm,
bringing all aspects of one's life together in a very holistic way. Um, uh, is that intentional?
it is, yeah. A lot of what I do, both as a coach and a recreation therapist, is looking at looking at things from a holistic perspective, which is actually why I called my business Wellness Recreation 360, to represent a circle, the whole person. Everything is within flow in a circle. And you know, it's about addressing the person as a whole, not just one area. What I find is that when people come to me for coaching, it's because they're having challenges in one specific area of their life that they want to work on. What I actually do is I look at the whole life. We look at clarity, we look at energy, we look at psychology, physiology, we look at productivity, and all components, because it is a holistic approach, because you are a whole person, not just one aspect.
And so I take that thinking and apply it to conversations with youth and adults ready to make a career change.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm sure you do the same. We don't separate career and
Right.
just look at it in isolation of all aspects of our life, your life. You don't separate work or separate hobbies or separate interests, relationships with friends and family, and all other areas of your life. You and I don't separate them and say, let's work on just that.
Right.
We look at all aspects of one's life, and I bring that kind of thinking into conversations when people are engaged with me on wanting to transition out of a particular career and transition into a different career. Is that clean water from the mountains of California?
I'm sure they're from the mountain springs somewhere. I know it's spring water. So yes, it's definitely somewhere in that space.
And I understand you live near the mountains
Yeah, they're pretty close by. Yeah.
and you live near the beach.
Yep.
So how does that happen? How do you live near the beach and the mountain? I don't get it.
I know it's a unique space to be able to just drive, a couple hours and be somewhere, we can experience the snow, we can experience the beach, we have a little bit of everything and yet aren't living in it constantly.
So that whole geography the type of life you're living in that geography tremendously influences you personally, and in some way influences the coaching. Because again, it's very holistic. I have a little bit of everything going on in my life, a little bit of the beach, a little bit of the mountains. So again, that whole package. So it's easy for you to be this high performance recreation therapy kind of coach because you're living it yourself. You're attached to so many different environments and you feel the benefits of living your life holistically.
I hadn't really thought of it until you just pointed out, but yeah, it is a very prevalent component. Yeah.
I'll invoice you for that.
There you go.
What would you like to what would you like to say to anybody and everybody watching and why they should connect with you on LinkedIn?
I think that if you're someone who's looking for someone to just help you in finding that holistic approach in your overall well-being, if you're someone who's looking for just some accountability and support, those are some of the things of the many things that I do for my clients and the people that I serve. I often post videos or content things that you can do with just, taking a moment out of your day to reflect on something or to practice some kind of self-care or wellness. So yeah, if you're looking for any kind of anything in that area, definitely connect and follow me on LinkedIn. And there's lots more where that came from.
And not only LinkedIn, but at every social media platform known to man and woman.
Currently, just LinkedIn and Facebook for me right now. It's about all I can handle in the social media world.
Which again would be your style, right? Not to get drawn in to the online world, to the that would result in having it harm all other aspects of your joyous life, your joyful life, because joy is a big part. I think you want to meet people to higher levels of joy.
Yeah, yeah, I
You,
would agree with that.
yeah, I want to move people through play to higher levels of happy. That's
Yes.
so I love that. Higher levels of joy, you know.
See, and Robert, that's why we connected and flowed so well because we've got highest levels of joy and happiness, which is that's a powerful duo right there.
And all of that is just good for one's mental health.
Absolutely.
Have you ever, one last comment, have you ever thought of yourself as a mental health optimist?
Ooh, a mental health optimist. Not in those specific words, but I definitely will be now.
It's a term that I created during COVID.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I totally see you as a mental health optimist. In other
Mm,
words, um, uh, through the shifts that people make in their life, they move from one particular energy with their mental health to a much better place of energy with their mental health,
mm-hmm.
and higher levels of optimism, higher levels of joy, higher levels of happy. So you are not only a mental health optimist, but you're a champion for better mental health. I'm not sure if you've thought of yourself in that way.
I haven't, and I really appreciate that because that's I'm gonna have to do some reflecting on that. I really I appreciate that. I'm gonna receive that and say thank you with much gratitude.
Well, it's hard for me to not think of you in that way because we have that connection with the field of recreation and leisure. Um, uh, Way back in the dinosaur age, when I was in college and university, um, uh, mental health wasn't part of the conversation in community or school anywhere. But today I can say to myself, listening to you, you're all over. You're all over better mental health because through what you do and through the messages that you deliver and moving people from where they are to where they could be with higher levels of joy, you're shifting their mental health to a higher place of optimism and betterment. So you're all over mental health. You're all over positive mental health. And it's just part of the journey. And what's beautiful about what you're doing, you don't even have to say the words mental health. You don't even have to say it, right? Which can turn people off.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a stigma still out there. I
Right.
feel like it's getting better, you know, and especially with the pandemic that we all experienced. I think a lot of wellness and mental health, you know, there's a bit of a movement that's gaining some momentum, but I think there's still a lot more
Yes.
that can and needs to be done in that realm.
Totally. Totally. You've been listening to the amazing, always happy, always smiling Heather Griego from, and I'll grab my notes, from Vacaville, California, a small town very close to the beaches and very close to the mountains. And I'm so envious of that, of that opportunity. You can find Heather right here on LinkedIn and jump to her LinkedIn profile right about now and connect with her. Thank you very, very much for being part of Robert's Search for Wellness and Wellbeing. Meet amazing experts like Heather, ready to support you and me, change how we all feel for the better. Totally amazing. You've shifted my whole thinking about recreation and leisure as a tool to move people towards heightened levels of joy and to have people reassess how they use reassess their use of leisure, their use of recreation towards higher levels of happy and well-being in their life. And you do that one-on-one and with groups. I would have never thought, being that I'm in recreation, it's kind of odd. I would have never thought that somebody would actually be in your kind of role doing that. So that's pretty cool.
Love about
Okay, I'm going to put this in on pause and so we could chat a bit more.
it.
And
Sounds
you rock, girl.
so do you. I mean, kudos to you. Just love the energy and there's so much power, I think, between what you have to offer, and I think that that's why, you know, we connected. And yeah, I love everything that you're doing, and you gave me two great terms to walk away with. So I've got mental health optimist, and I have work life energy that I'm gonna
Yes.
be tucking away.
Okay, bye.